4 young men got on a boat on the 4th of July. 3 of them came back. Now let me tell you something. The one who didn't come back was 18 years old, a college football player, in the best shape of his life, a strong swimmer with a Division I tryout that very next Monday. His name was Nolan Wells, and 2 days later they pulled his body out of the water. The police said it was a drowning, no foul play, case basically closed. But hey, that's where it gets strange, because when Nolan's mama finally got her hands on his phone, what she found in it, or what she didn't find in it, flipped this whole thing upside down. See, Nolan didn't take his phone with him when he supposedly chose to stay behind on that island. His friends left with it, and when his mother opened it up, a whole day at the beach, a boy who filmed everything, snapped everything, woke his mama up just to take a picture. There was nothing in there. No photos, no videos, no messages from that day. Empty. And it hadn't even been 24 hours yet, which means whatever was on it should have still been there. Her sister looked at her and said one word: suspicious. So now, you've got a phone that comes back wiped clean. You've got a girl saying one thing and 3 boys saying the opposite. You've got a video with somebody hollering, "Give me my freaking phone." You've got a body that showed up a full day after they searched that same water. And you've got a family that stopped trusting the story they were handed. I'm going to walk you through every single piece of this. The phone, the keys, the video, the tide, all of it. And by the end, you're going to understand exactly why his own parents don't believe what they were told. So stay with me. This is the death of Nolan Wells. And I promise you, it does not add up. If you're into deep dive true crime that actually explains the why, hit subscribe and lock in. I post a new case every week. Everybody who knew him called him No. Nolan Xavier Wells was from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. A wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College, studying business, with the kind of future that was just starting to open up in front of him. His high school coach called him the player every coach dreams about. Not just talented, but humble, hardworking, the type who led without saying much.
Such a great person. He was just a happy young man that made everybody smile and just made your day brighter.
His college president called him exemplary. And you know what word comes up again and again from teachers, from teammates, from folks who barely knew him? Kind. The boy was just kind. Let me tell you something about who this kid was. His mama, Christine, tells a story about him as a baby. She and Nolan's daddy were having a tense little moment, the way couples do. And this baby in a diaper toddles into the room and just starts dancing. A goofy little made-up dance. Because he could feel that something was off between them and he wanted to fix it. And she says that's who he stayed his whole life. A peacemaker. This is the same kid who, in a math class, got the whole room to put their hands down so a student with special needs could answer the question herself.
They had a special needs student and she asked a question and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so the student answers the question and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child. Making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like, he loved everyone.
And then he led the whole class in celebrating when she got it right. That was Nolan. Now his daddy Elmore raised him on one rule. Drilled it in so hard the boy probably got sick of hearing it. If you go somewhere with a group, you come back with that group. Don't split off. Don't go chasing after some girl and leave your people behind. Elmore's exact words to his son were, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Safety in numbers. And he used to tell Nolan, one day, you're going to thank me for nagging you like this. And Nolan, he'd always answer the same way. Yes, sir. Now hold on to that rule. because everything, I mean everything, that happens next turns on it. The 4th of July was supposed to be the boy's last little hurrah before football camp swallowed up the rest of his summer. Nolan and his friends were headed out to Horn Island. Now, if you don't know it, Horn Island is a long, thin strip of land about 10 miles off the Mississippi coast. No buildings, no lifeguards, no real cell service out there. Just sand, some pine trees, and water. And the only way to reach it is by boat. On a holiday weekend, that place fills all the way up. Hundreds of boats, sometimes more, anchored off the beach while everybody wades in the water, drinks, and soaks up the sun. And here's the part that matters. This same group had made this same trip before. More than once, no problem. So Christine wasn't worried. Nolan didn't give her a time he'd be home, and she didn't ask for one. The boy was 18. This was just a normal day. Now, according to the accounts the investigators would end up working from, the group got ready to leave around 3 in the afternoon. And this right here, is where the last clean version of Nolan's day runs out. His friends say he told them he was gonna stay behind, that he'd been talking to a girl and he'd catch a ride back to the mainland with some other group later on. So they left. Around 4:30, the boats pulled off that island, and Nolan was not on any of them. Evening comes. Christine's not alarmed at first. The boy had stayed out late before it happens. But then her phone rings, and the second she sees it's one of Nolan's friends calling her directly instead of Nolan himself, something in her chest just dropped, because his friends don't call her like that. Not ever. The voice on the other end asks if she's heard from Nolan, and she's confused. She thought he was with them. She said, "No, I thought he was with you guys." And the friend says, "No." He says Nolan stayed back because he was talking to a girl. Oh, so now, the boy who was raised on "you come back with the group," the boy with a tryout that Monday, the boy who texts his mama a picture before he goes to sleep, that boy decided, all on his own, to stay alone on an island with no phone and no ride home? That call came in just after 11 o'clock at night, and from that moment, the whole night turned into something scattered and frantic and just plain wrong, because now Mama's trying to find her son, and the first place technology points her, it doesn't point to the island at all. So Christine starts trying to find her boy, and she's got 2 ways to track a phone. She's got Life 360. That's the app a lot of families keep so they can see where everybody is. And the kids all had their Snapchat locations on too, tracking each other. Now here's where it gets sideways. The 2 apps told 2 different stories. Snapchat was showing one thing, but Life 360 was showing that Nolan's phone was back on land. Not on the island, on land. So think about what that does to a mother in that moment. If the phone made it back to shore, then maybe her baby made it back to shore. That's hope, right? So she calls one of the boys who'd been on the trip, a young man named Warren, and she asks him straight up, and Warren tells her, "No, Nolan didn't come back with us. Make it make sense. The phone's on land. The boy is not. So somebody had that phone, and it wasn't Nolan." Now Christine's got a close friend named Tashima. Her 2 sons grew up playing ball right alongside Nolan since they were little. And it's through that connection that they finally track the phone down to a house. One of the boys had it. Christine's friend goes and gets it and brings it back to the family. And listen, nobody volunteered that phone. Nobody called Mama up and said, "Hey, we've got Nolan's phone, come get it." They had to hunt it down. If they hadn't tracked it, we don't even know if that phone would have ever come home. But hey, the phone wasn't the only thing they had to go chase down. There was also the car, and the keys to that car turned into its own whole situation. Nolan's daddy, Elmore. tells this part himself, and it's one of those moments that just sits with you. They go to the house where Nolan had stayed the night before, the same house, same friends, to get his car keys so they could take his car home. And Elmore walks up, and a few of the friends are already there at the door, and things start getting tense. So Elmore, being the grown man in the situation, calms everybody down. He looks at one of the young men and says, "Look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car." And the young man goes off to look. 2-3 minutes later, he comes back and says, "I can't find the keys." "Okay." So Elmore says, "Okay." He starts moving the boys out of the house because he doesn't want anybody going in there tearing up somebody else's home and turning it into a whole other situation. And while they're standing out by the car, another one of the young men is on the phone with a girl, and that girl tells him the keys are inside, sitting right on top of the Xbox, because she'd been there earlier and she saw them. So this young man walks back up to that door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. Now, let me let Elmore tell you how that felt, in his own words. He said, "So, now I feel like you don't lie to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. First, you can't find the keys. Then a phone call later, the keys are on top of the Xbox. I said what I said. That's the kind of thing that makes a grieving father start looking at everybody a whole lot different. Now, while all of this is happening, the phone, the keys, the back and forth, there's a search cranking up, and it's not small. Christine reported her son missing that same night, and once that happened, it turned into a full multi-agency operation. You had the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, you had the Coast Guard, the Department of Marine Resources, the National Park Service Rangers who work that island, and you had the United Cajun Navy. Those are the volunteers who specialize in water searches, and they jumped in fast. Boats in the water, drones in the air, people walking that island on foot looking for any sign of Nolan. Here's a detail his daddy can't shake. That next morning, July 5th, Elmore's son's coach saw everything on Facebook and called him up at 5 in the morning asking if he wanted to go out. So Elmore went. They took a boat out, docked it, walked a good long stretch of that island, got back on, went all the way around it, and he says they went right by the spot where they'd later say his son's body floated up, and Elmore, a grown man standing on that island looking. He says plainly, "I would think that we would have saw his body." And here's something else that stuck with him. He says there was a family that actually camped out overnight on that island, tented right there, plus other boats docked. So Elmore's sitting there thinking, if my son was really left out here alive, that family would have seen him. He would have had help. Somebody would have helped him. But nobody did. They searched Saturday night. They searched all day Sunday, and it wasn't until Monday morning, July 6th, that a park ranger out on the northwest tip of Horn Island spotted a body in the water. Around 8:45 in the morning. It was Nolan. So much time had passed, they had to identify him using dental records. An 18-year-old who went out to celebrate a holiday. And this is how it ended. Now watch this, because this is one of the things the family cannot get past. Nolan goes missing on July 4th. His daddy is out there searching that same water on July 5th. But the body isn't found until July 6th, 2 full days after the boy was last seen. So the question the family keeps asking is about the tide. If the tide that came through would have been expected to bring a body up to the surface or into shore, then why did Nolan show up a whole day later, in the same area where he was last seen? Ben Crump, the attorney the family brought in, put it plain. He said, that's one of those things that's just not adding up. Now, and I'm going to be straight with you the whole way through this, there's another side to that. The people who know that water including the search coordinators, will tell you the currents around that island are no joke. There's a strong rip off that northwest tip. One local said it plain. The rip out there can take a Navy SEAL out. Bodies in open water don't move on a clean schedule. Depth, wind, temperature, all of it plays a part. So could it take 2 days for entirely natural reasons? Yeah, it could. But hey, a father who walked that beach himself the day before has every right to stand there and ask the question out loud. And so far, nobody's given him an answer that settles it. And we haven't even gotten to the video yet. The one with somebody hollering for their phone. That's where this really starts to turn. So let's talk about this video. Because it's been all over the internet, and depending on who you ask, it's either the biggest piece of this whole thing, or it's nothing at all. Here's what's actually on it. Somebody's filming from a boat, panning across a crowded stretch of that beach. And in the background, you can hear what sounds like an argument. Ben Crump says the audio catches a voice saying, "Give me my freaking phone, what are you freaking doing?" And Crump's team believes that voice belongs to Nolan. Now sit with that for a second. If that's really him, then the last time you hear Nolan's voice, he's fighting to get back the one thing that later turns up missing, wiped clean, and in somebody else's hands. The phone. But hey, I told you I'd give you both sides, and this is where it gets complicated, because the person pushing back hardest on that video is Nolan's own best friend, a young man named Javon. And Javon's not trying to protect anybody, Qui. He wants answers just as bad as anybody. But he says the voices in that clip are too clear, too close. The camera boat is too far out for a voice on that beach to come through that clean. In his words, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. So now you've got two people who both want the truth, listening to the same few seconds of audio.
I can't tell, it's too far away, but in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear, like from the side. It's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in that altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it.
And hearing two completely different things. Make it make sense. And that phone, remember when Christine and her sister finally opened it, there was nothing there. No saved photos, no videos, no snaps from that whole day. And this is a boy who documented everything. It hadn't even hit the 24-hour mark, so whatever was on there should have still been sitting right there. It wasn't. And the family believes messages and snaps were deleted before that phone ever got back to them. Then you've got the two stories about his last conversation. The girl Nolan was talking to says he told her he was heading back to the boat with the boys. The boys say Nolan told them he was staying behind with her. Two versions, same conversation. Both can't be true. Crump said it best, which is it? All we know is Nolan is dead. Now here's where a whole lot of folks online lost their patience, because as the days went by, some of the young men from that trip went and got themselves lawyers, and some of them deactivated their social media, went private. Javon, the best friend, said the police hadn't even reached out to talk to him, and he's the one who knew Nolan's relationship with all these boys. On top of that, one of the friends on that boat, his mother is a sitting judge in the very same county running this investigation. Now, she came out publicly and said her family had nothing to hide, that her son cooperated fully, and that they left the island around 4:30 because the boat was taking on water. And she said Nolan made his own decision to stay. That's her account, and she's entitled to it. But you can understand why. To a grieving family, all these powerful people and all these lawyers circling made an already hard thing feel a whole lot heavier. So the family stopped waiting. They brought in Ben Crump. They brought in Reverend Al Sharpton. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for an independent autopsy. They flew Nolan's body all the way to Washington, D.C., so a doctor with no ties to Mississippi could examine him. Tyler Perry stepped up to cover the funeral, and through all of it, the sheriff held his position. No evidence of a crime. They believe he drowned. The investigation is still open. As of the
There's no information that would lead us to believe that a crime had been committed. Now, that's why we're still asking for information if anybody has anything.
family speaking out, no arrests, no charges, no cause of death made public. Just a whole lot of questions and a whole lot of people waiting. And underneath all of it, the phone, the keys, the video, the tide, the lawyers, it's easy to forget who we're actually talking about. An 18-year-old wide receiver, a boy his coach loved, his college loved, his best friend loved, his mama and daddy poured everything into. A kid who walked into rooms and made them lighter, who was about to turn 19, who had a tryout that Monday, and a whole life lined up in front of him. He went out on a boat to celebrate a holiday with his friends, and he never came home. His parents aren't asking you to believe any one theory. They're not pointing a finger at a single soul. All they've said over and over is the same simple thing. They just want to know what happened to their son. And until somebody can explain that gap, that stretch of hours between the last time he was seen and the moment he went into that water in a way that actually holds together, they're going to keep asking out loud, whether it's comfortable for anybody or not, because a mother said it plain. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home. So that's where it stands. You heard the phone, you heard the keys, you heard the video, the tide, the two stories that don't match. I laid it all out. Now, the angle is yours to pick. If you made it this far, do me one favor. Drop a comment and tell me accident or something more. I read every one of them, and if this is the kind of case that keeps you up at night, the forgotten ones, the recent ones, the ones that still don't add up, then you're in the right place. Subscribe, hit that bell, and stay close. I post a new case every week, because here at Beyond Dark Cases, we don't let these stories disappear. I'll see you in the next one.